How many jazz guitar aficionados from around the globe? Sandra Sherman here. Greetings from Austria. Today you'll learn how to spice up your 2-5-1 chord comping. I'll show you chord sets from the E, A, and D strings, so I'll have you covered from low to high and down and to up the neck all across the fretboard. You can download the lesson material like tabs with the chord diagrams from the link down below in the description box. Alright, and now let's get some 2-5-1 chord voicings under your fingers. The first chord set starts from the low E string and we're in the key of G. So our 2-5-1 is A minor 7, D7 to G major 7, okay? So instead of playing this standard A minor 7, let's add some tensions to it. And the tensions for the 2 chord are 9, 11, and 13. So why not add this 11? You can download the tabs from the link in the description box below this video. So this is A minor 11. Now for the 5 chord, we want to alter this because it resolves back. D7 resolves back to G. That's a 5-1. So if it resolves back, we can use altered chords like flat 9, sharp 9, sharp 11, flat 13. Those are the 4 alterations, okay? So let's have a D7 flat 9 by barring, then the sharp 9 and the flat 9 again. And this way, I already enclose this tone, the E. And the E is my 13 of the upcoming chord, G major 13. Because for major chords, for the 1 chord, I can use the tensions 9 and 13. I cannot use 11 because that clashes against the 3rd of the chord. So let's play, instead of a regular G major 7, let's add a G major 13. That has such a great flavor to it, I love it. And we can also add some more chords from the major chord group, and that's 6-9 chords, G6-9. And now let's make some kind of a big bend feel. Right? I just go down 1. That's an F sharp. It's just a chromatic approach back to the G. You may want to check out my starter packages with 5 lessons in each package for different topics, like starter pack for chord melody, jazz, blues, 2-5-1s, what else I got? Bossa Nova. So I have different topics with 5 lessons in each, and that's a great value for each of these packages. I'll have a link here and down below in the description box and in the comment section. Check it out. We're still on the E string, but this time I use inversions. And we have great inversions here. We're still in G major 7. So A minor 7, the first inversion with the 3rd in bass is here. That's like a C6, okay? A minor 7 actually is a C6. And then a D7 with the C in bass, because I have the C here and here is the D block, the D triad, so it's a D7, right? And that chord sounds amazing. It's a simple D7 chord, but with the 7 in bass it sounds, I don't know, weird in a kind of way, but greatly weird, you know, awesomely weird. And that leads us to the inversion for the G major 7 chord. And then I can play around with it. If I move my pinky, this holds the 7th of the chord. If I move it to the right, I get a G triad with the B in bass, like you have it in pop music. And then I move it back, And then I lift my finger and I get the sixth of the chord. G6 also belongs to the major group. That's also a major group chord. Right? Let's move over to the A string. And since the key of G cadence, A minor D G, would be up high here, let's move down to the key of C. So we have D minor, G altered, and C major. And we have a really nice D minor cluster lying here. We have that D minor 7 chord, and we can now play around with it by moving our pinky to the D minor 9th, lifting it and barring, and we get D minor 7. So we can have some kind of chord melody comping style. Now over to the G altered chord. We have a G7 sharp 5 or flat 13 here, which is an altered chord. 3, 3, 4, 4. And the C major, we have a lot of chords here, like the C major 9. Right? And then a C major 7, which you probably already know. So let's throw them all in for some nice, we want to have some good voice leading on the top of our, on the highest string to make a little melody. And then I go to the C6 9. So that's like the C major 9, but lifting the pinky and barring over, now you get a C6 9. And then I can do that big band style riff again, by just moving one to the left and back. If you made it up to this point in the video, you probably like my content. You can help to keep the free video tutorials running by becoming a member of my channel. Please click the join button to see the options available for helping support this channel. Thanks so much, and now let's continue. Quartal voicings are a really cool way to make your comping sound more modern and sophisticated. We have a D minor 11 chord here. You may know this from the So What Miles Davis. That's the So What voicing. Actually we just play the inner 4 strings. So What has the A on top. So that's all fourths, intervals of fourths. From here to here, here to here, and here to here, you have only fourths. All right, and now we can move this up the neck through the D Dorian scale. So that's an E minor 11 and also a D sus something chord. You can relate it back to the D. Then we have an F Lydian sound, 8, 9, 9, 10, and which is also, if you compare it against the D, it totally works, okay? So we can move upwards. Each of these has fourths. This voicing also only has fourths, but here is a sharp 4 in there because we're in the key of C and we have that B tone and not a B flat. That's why this looks different, okay? And then we go up. This leads us directly to a nice G7 sharp 9 chord again, flat 9. And then I wanted to have the G in there too because I have this melody and I wanted to end on a G, but I don't want to play this G7 chord. So there's several ways to do that. You could play this chord, or I like my Sandra version, and that's just a G7 chord with the flat 9 in bass, with the A flat in bass. So we get, right? And then we go to the C major, and that's the 1 chord. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna break the rules, and I play a chord that appears on the 4th scale degree, which is also a major chord, but it has a sharp 4, a sharp 11 in there. Remember when I told you on the 1st degree we cannot play the 11th in the chord? We cannot have something like C major 11 because the 11 clashes against the 4th. That would it sound like with the 11th in there. Terrible. But if I have the sharp 11 in there, that's a beautiful sound. So I borrowed it from the 4th degree of a scale, okay? So that's actually the 4th degree of the G scale, but it doesn't matter, we can use that. It just sounds more modern, you know, like modern jazz. It's used all the time on the 1 degree, on the 1st scale degree too. Okay, then by putting my middle finger on the G, I'm back to the regular C major chord, right? This one, I just fret it differently. And then I change over to the C major 13 chord. We had this before when we were in the other key. And back to the C major 7 chord. Alright, let's move to the D string. We're still in the key of C major, so still D minor, G altered, C major. Those chords are called upper chords or upper structure chords, and they often don't have a root. So you have to memorize where your root is in order to shift them, to move them to different keys. Alright, D minor, remember when we had that cluster down here from the A string? We can have the same thing here, but starting on a D string. So we don't have a root here anymore. That's the that would be the root. So you gotta memorize that. If you want to shift it to say F minor, F and then this. You have to know the relationship, the relations. You know, where is your root and where is the first tone you can play. All right, so that's a D minor 9 chord, okay? And we play that. And then the G altered, we have so many variations here. We have the G7 altered here. So all you do is you play the flat 9 here. So what you get is G7 sharp 5 like before with the flat 9, or G7 flat 9 flat 13, because the sharp 5 and the flat 13 are basically the same thing. Play that. Then I add the sharp 9 by moving my pinky here, going back to that flat 9 and resolving to a C6-9 chord. Remember we had it from the A string. Now I just don't play the A string, but I play the 5th of the E string. The 3rd fret, but that's the 5th of the chord. C6-9. Then that's not enough for us. We want to add some more spice. Here is something. These are all derived from regular chords from the E and A string, okay? So if you know them, it's a lot easier. C major 7, don't play the root, but add the A, which is the 13, C major 13. So we come from here. Then a regular C major 7, you should actually know this one. And then I go back to the C6-9. And this is our last chord set. We start with that D minor 7 coming from this D minor chord. I take this thing here and add its 7th, and we get a D minor 7 chord. And now for the G altered chord, I use a vehicle, and that's diminished chord. A diminished chord from a chord tone of G7 except for the root. So from the 3rd of G7, the 5th, the flat 7th, and the flat 9th instead of the root. So like B is a chord tone of G7. So I have B diminished or A flat. They are all chord tones. 3, 7, 5, 3, 5, 7, flat 9. And you shape a diminished chord around that, and because they are symmetrical chords and repeat themselves all 3 frets, we can now use this vehicle to change positions. We go 3 frets to the right and 3 frets to the right, and now we're up here, and it's all G7 flat 9 chords. And then we resolve back to a standard C major chord. You have the C in bass on a D string. Then a C major 9 chord. This is derived from this C major, right? We take this cluster and add the 9th. And now the funny thing is we just had this exact voicing as a D minor chord. Now if this is D minor 7 chord and we go up 2 frets, this is an E minor 7 chord. And that's the same. C major 9 is the same as E minor 7, but the C major 9 doesn't have the root in there. So you got to memorize the root again, right? So depending on what the bass player plays, this could be a C major 9 or an E minor 7, all right? That's the thing with the top 4-string voicings, the upper chords. And then I take my big band cluster again, C6-9, 7-7-8-8. This time this would be your root. Here we go. Having a senior moment here. Because we have the C6-9 with the root in A, we have that same exact voicing with the root in E bass, on the E bass. Don't forget to give this video a fat thumbs up if you liked it, so you help promote my channel, and subscribe my channel, maybe even join the channel and support me that way. And check out my starter packs again. Go to GuitarVersum.com. That's my lesson shop. You find all the lesson material there too. And I hope to see you next week. Servus, baba.